Hey guys, I wanted to make a little video here just to kind of get a few things straight. A lot of people seem to think that I have a very negative attitude when it comes to new music, and I will say that I am quite picky. I tend to expect a certain standard when it comes to bands, that especially ones that I've liked for a long time. So what I'm going to be showing you here are bands and CDs that have really caught my eye in the past year or so. There's no real deadline on this as far back as I'll go, but every CD on this list has come out relatively in the last year or so and has absolutely blown me away. And some of them I absolutely love, some of them I like a lot. So for the most part, everything I do like considerably. That being said, yeah, there were a lot of albums, especially a lot of the ones that I talked about and a lot of the ones I was anticipating that I didn't necessarily like all that much. Like the Blink album, the new Living End album, what else? I don't know. I won't even focus on those right now. So, first one on the list is something I've been waiting for a long time, and I'm going to be honest, I haven't even heard the damn thing yet, but it is Plini's new album, Handmade Cities. It's out in a couple days, and I don't even need to have heard this thing yet to know that it's going to be amazing, because everything this guy does is just a step above everybody else. He is 100% the most influential guitar player in my life right now, and the couple songs that I have heard so far are just amazing, and I really can't wait to hear it. So I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that I will be playing that album over and over and over again. So that's number one. Number two is Sithu's Set Course for Andromeda. It's a really great double album. First album has a lot of great guest spots in it. It's got Plini in there. It's got Mark Holcomb from Periphery in there and a bunch of other guys. And it's just full of great riffs, a lot of great recurring themes. And the second part is very cool. It doesn't have any guest spots in any of those, but it's just incredible. It's especially that first song. I think it's called The First Step or something. Just really, really great melodies that he uses through the whole CD, really. But if you're a fan of heavier instrumental guitars, a lot of melodies, that sort of thing, it's definitely worth checking out. Thirdly is the Starting Line's new EP, Anyways. I kind of got into the Starting Line a little late, and by the time I started really getting into them, they had already disbanded. And since then, they've been back together, but they've been doing maybe a couple shows here and there. So when they finally released a couple new songs, I was really excited. And I gotta say, they're great songs. It's almost as if they never stopped. And excuse me, if they were still a band this entire time, I wouldn't be surprised. If I just didn't know. And this is the first thing that they've released in, I'm not even sure how many years, maybe 6-7 years or something. And it's just as solid as any of the stuff they put out. It's catchy. It's got great sound. It's got really great production, I think. And even though it's only 3 songs, I think it's a solid release for sure. Number 4, this one came out a little while ago, but it's Such Gold's The New Sidewalk, and over the past year or so, I've definitely listened to this one a lot, and they're really just a great band. It's got some pop punk kind of elements. It's got some sort of hardcore sort of elements to it, and frankly, I can't really pinpoint it, but they do a really nice job of not really sticking to a pattern, which is really refreshing. And it's honestly that concept that interested me in that band, because somebody had suggested them and specifically said that, you know, they don't really do the normal, you know, verse chorus sort of thing. They just write songs, and you know, that really struck a chord with me, and I thought it'd be cool, and they totally deliver on it. So great songs. Number 5 is Saosin's Along the Shadow. I will say that I did have very high expectations for this album, and they did not quite reach it. But it's a very good album, I think. I do wish it had a little less screaming, just because the Saosin that I'm used to doesn't have quite as much, almost none, actually. Granted, I've been very familiar with the early Anthony Green stuff, which does have a good amount of screaming in it, but this has a lot of screaming in it, and it's just a little harder for me personally to digest, but it's still a great album, full of great riffs, and just solid songs through and through. Number 6 is Paul Gilbert, I Can Destroy. It's just another solid album of just a great bunch of songs. So Paul's been known for a lot of different things over the past, I don't know, 20 or 30 years now, and I think this album's a really good mix of heavy rock and almost some sort of metal stuff. He doesn't really do too much metal anymore, but that sort of heavy rock, and then some good blues sort of stuff in there too, which is really cool. So it's a nice blend. It's pretty refreshing for me anyway, because as much as I like blues, I like it when it's mixed with a little bit heavier sort of style. So number 7 is Muse, Drones, and this is another one that came out a little while ago, but I'm still listening to it quite a bit. Some of the songs aren't quite as memorable for me, maybe compared to some of their classic albums, but there's some couple songs on there that are really great. I think the album from front to back is still pretty solid. I really like some of the songs that aren't necessarily big rocker songs, like Mercy and Revolt. I really like those two, and a bunch of the other songs are great too. So I think that was another solid release from them. I definitely like that one. Number 8 is Intervals, The Shape of Color, and I can honestly say this has been my most listened to album over the past year. It came out this past December, and man, I can't even tell you how many times I've listened to this. It's just a solid 8 songs, all instrumental, just full of great guitar work, full of great guest spots. Nick Johnston is on a track, Plini's on the last track, and there's a saxophone solo by Leland Whitty, I think it was Whitty, on one of the tracks too, and that was awesome. And he just makes it all fit so good, and it's one of the best sounding albums I've ever heard. Just sonically, it's produced so well. I absolutely love it. Definitely worth checking out. Number 9 is Haunted Shores. It's called Viscera, and it's, I guess, an EP. I don't know if you'd call it an album or not. It's kind of short, but it's just great, dark, heavy instrumental music, and Misha and Mark from Periphery did a killer job on it. Whenever I'm just kind of pissed off and I want to listen to something heavy, I just throw that on. It's really good. Number 10 is 4 Years Strong, the self-titled album, and I gotta say, it's just another really solid selection of songs. Came out about a year ago. A lot of great riffs. I'm really happy that they got back into the riffier side of their songwriting style. A lot of really good production, I think, on this one. It's a big, big album, and all the songs just sound huge. Everything about it, I think, is about as solid as it gets for 4 Years Strong. I don't think they held anything back, and it's a really good bunch of songs on that one. Number 11 is Catalyst by Dorje, and I think that one's just an EP, but another great bunch of songs. I've really grown to like Rob Chapman and his group of guys over the past couple years, just from watching them on YouTube. And although Rob's voice isn't really my cup of tea, I think they write some really great songs, and it's pretty different from what I normally listen to. And the band that Rob plays with is very talented. They're very, very talented guys. Very, very much so. Number 12 is Age of Lazers, and frankly, I'm blanking on the actual name of the CD. Let me see. Oh, it's self-titled. This is someone that just kind of came out of nowhere, and the only reason I checked it out is because Grant Henry, a good friend of mine who does a lot of music, had worked on the production side of that and the mixing, mastering, and whatever, and I think he did some guest spots on the album, and I'll pretty much check out anything that he does, and I'm really glad I did, because it's a great album of just heavy guitars and heavy, big synth sounds, and some like chiptune-y kind of stuff too, which is really fun, and it just blends together really well. And of course Grant's production sounds awesome. It's really big and totally worth checking out. Next is Grant's newest CD, Narrowband, and it's under his name Stemage. And man, that guy writes some of the greatest riffy, heavy rock songs, and this one's definitely got a bunch of like spacey kind of vibe to it. It's, you know, kind of like a space rock kind of thing, and just the atmospheres that guy creates with his work is just amazing. You know, whenever I want to listen to just great riffy rock guitar, not necessarily like super lead involved, that's usually what I go to. Definitely one of my favorites. 14 would be Umi, and I don't necessarily have a certain release of his in mind for this one, just because I kind of got into his self-titled album and his new EP, Tiny Little Light, right around the same time. But man, great bunch of songs. I think I checked it out just either because I saw it on Bandcamp or just because I saw that Plini had done a guest spot on the EP, and it's kind of like a softer Plini, where it's got a lot of jazzy influence to it, some sort of fusion influence. There's a lot of like piano and guitar, and it mixes really well. So it's a great bunch of songs to just kind of chill out to. I listen to it at work a lot. Number 15 is Toska, and the three members of Toska are actually the other three members in Dorje, who I mentioned earlier, and man, they write some killer riffs and just some great rocking sounds. It's all instrumental, so he can kind of in a way call it Dorje without Rob Chapman or without the vocals, but it's definitely a different kind of vibe than Dorje. Dorje is more about the songwriting, and Toska is more about the just riffs, and it's great. It's really well done. 16 is Tides of Man, and let me see what the name of that album was actually, because I'm blanking on that one. Where are you? Might be another self-titled one, I don't remember. It's called Young and Courageous. And this is another all-instrumental band. They're kind of like post-hardcore, I guess. It's kind of like if Thrice were instrumental and more uplifting. Their songs, for the most part, are very uplifting, I think, and they just create such great landscapes, and it's like listening to a movie. That's the best thing I can really compare it to. It's kind of like Explosions in the Sky, if any of you guys are familiar with that. But just a little more intricate, at least in my opinion. But man, I really like that album a lot. Really, really great instrument work from all of them. Really works well together. Next one is To Be Everywhere Is To Be Nowhere by Thrice. I wasn't really expecting to like this one that much. You know, I was kind of just taking it with a grain of salt, I guess, just because I did not care for the last album. But this one, the more I listen to it, the more I really dig it. There's some really, really strong songs on it, like Hurricane and what is it called? Black Honey, I think. I'm blanking. Let me see. Yeah, Black Honey, and some other ones. So there's a great bunch of songs. And just the album from front to back is a really great set of songs. You know, nothing really sounds the same. It doesn't really just blend together like some albums do. Each one brings a little something different, which is cool. Next one is A Sudden Burst of Color and their new EP called Ambivalence. They're another they're another instrumental band, like a lot of the bands on here. And they're a little similar to like the Tides of Man and the Thrice sort of vibe, where it's just kind of post-hardcore kind of thing. But it's not really like super melodic, but it's just very involved and it's very interesting. You know, it's really fun to listen to and just, you know, put on some good headphones and just hit play, you know. It's not necessarily like a shredder type of thing, you know, like Plini or C2A or Intervals or something like that. But it's just great listening music, great driving music, especially. So definitely worth checking out. Number 19 is the Shatterhand Tribute by Munzadeth. And this was another one of those ones where I checked out because of Grant Henry and his involvement. He did the production and like the mixing mastering, so I knew it was going to sound good. And it was a friend of his that is a guitar player that just wanted to do a tribute to a video game soundtrack that he loved called Shatterhand. Frankly, I'd never played the game. I'd never even heard of the damn game. But he does an awesome job, and the soundtrack that he's playing is killer too. So it's basically just a guitar-driven reimagining of a old, I believe, NES soundtrack, and that one's really fun. I really like that one a lot. And finally, number 20 is Kiska, and their album, what the hell is it called? No, it's self-titled. I'm always forgetting the self-titled ones. This one was a recommendation from a friend of mine, and I'm really glad they told me to check it out, because it's kind of like a heavy, really like driven sort of post-hardcore, I guess, but it's like Thrice. It's like, what if Thrice now, but they had never gotten soft, you know? It's definitely got vocals, and I think the vocals are really solid. And yeah, it's kind of like the older Thrice, maybe like kind of Viscera sort of vibe, but before they had gotten like really, really different, you know, after Viscera and whatever, once they got to like Beggars. So it's not really like that. But man, it's a great bunch of songs. The tones are really great. A lot of the sounds were like, man, that's exactly what I want to sound like, you know. If I was in a band, you know, I wouldn't mind it sounding like that, for example. So I'm going to do my best to have links to check out all these albums, and at least some of the harder to find ones. I mean, I'm sure everybody can figure out where to get Muse's album and 4 Year Strong or whatever, but some of these are pretty hidden. So I'll definitely post links and stuff. But thanks everybody for watching. You know, I just wanted to show you guys that, yeah, I do really get into a lot of music, but it's not necessarily the type of music that I've been into since when I started YouTube. You know, I'm not the same guy that I was 10 or 11 years ago when I started YouTube, and I'm not really the pop punk kind of guy that much anymore. As much as I do like the older stuff and appreciate the older stuff and still like it, you know, a lot of the newer stuff just doesn't really resonate with me like this sort of stuff does. And I don't know. So yeah, that's all I got. Check these bands out for sure. Great stuff. And if you got any questions, or if I guess if you want to suggest any other bands based on what I've shown you here, feel free to do so. I mean, a lot of people ask me to check out, you know, pop punk bands and whatever like that. I'm like, all right, yeah, you know, it's just not really my cup of tea these days. But I do check out, you know, 95% of the stuff that you guys ask me to check out. So feel free to do so if you want. And if you end up, you know, checking out one of these bands and you like it, definitely let me know. I like getting people into different bands, and I hope that you guys dig them. So I'll see you guys later, and yeah, and nothing else. That's it. I'll just see you later.